Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast, the whiskey talk show where we drink so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are, and that's why we like you. This week on the podcast, we're drinking a familiar and very easily accessible rye called Rittenhouse Rye. It's 100 proof. It is a bottled and bond rye. Oh, you have one too. I also have one. This will be a double cork unscrew today.
We can both screw around.
Yeah, exactly. And but before we get into the whiskey, before we drink the whiskey, before we even talk about how we're doing, here's a great way to support us is write us a rating or review, especially on Apple Podcasts. But if you're on some other venue that allows ratings or reviews, do that. And we appreciate you giving us input, giving us what you do. So,
and if you're on a platform that doesn't allow you to give ratings, get off that communist platform.
Yeah.
And get on Apple and leave one.
Yeah, they don't want you to help anyone. They just want you to listen.
Not speak your mind.
Exactly. Listen and not speak. So that's what I got this week in the terms of the... Yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. I hope you had a great time. Robby, I hope you don't cough as much next time. I hope you feel better.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Is it time for me to talk?
Let's talk, and you can go first.
As you can tell by my voice, I still am not 100%, man. I have only slept, 2 nights this week, and that was the last 2 nights. So, I apologize, listeners. I am so sorry. I just got super sick. Last Friday, Juniper had an appointment because she was sick, so we had a doc coming out to see her. So I was like, okay, I'll take the day off work. I wake up and I am done. I'm like, I am tired. I can't do anything. Took everything I had because it's a Table Rock Medicine, great in the Treasure Valley. They come to your house, and they're come to the house, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I have not moved an inch since I woke up. Mara's like, Dad, I can just ride my scooter to school. I'm like, please do.
That's funny.
So I scrambled like sick Robby, used all my energy I had on cleaning the house up for Juniper's appointment, and then I'm glad Chelsea had to work on Mother's Day, and we plan on celebrating Mother's Day weekend this weekend because I was awful. Like I couldn't do anything, coughing and hacking up. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Saturday night though was kind of scary. Like I swear I had COVID. Took the test, it never came positive. But Saturday night, Chelsea has a pulse oximeter, and so I just kind of all of a sudden I'm having a hard time breathing. I was dipping down into 82, 83.
That's a scary range.
It was a little bit. So I texted her. I'm like, should I go to the hospital? And so she monitored me for about an hour. And she's like, I think you're okay unless it happens again. So it was weird. I was super sick. Me too, man. But so anyway, listeners, I am sorry. Next time, it had Cole and I had the day off, so Cole and I could have recorded, but it would have been awful. Cole would have been just trying to do it all himself. You'd make a little hand puppet, Robby, I'm okay. You would have been
make some funny puns.
Yeah. You'd been the pun master. Had to be that day. So anyway, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm looking forward to the weekend, sleep in a little bit, kind of get back on track. But and then my wife got it, and we're worried Amara's coming down with it right now. So
it's hard.
Yeah.
How's Chelsea doing?
Out of commission. She's okay. She luckily, excuse me. Luckily, she was able to. She had to work this weekend. She didn't start getting it until Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Or no, she started getting it Saturday evening, so she kind of had to work Sunday, but it wasn't bad yet. And then she had 3 days off, and she took a Thursday off. So today was her only day working this week. So luckily, she's been able to semi not have to rest and stuff. But yeah, and I'm glad she got sick too because the man flu.
Yeah.
I admittedly, when I get sick, I'm just dude, I'm just going to shut it down. I'm going to rest till I get better. Yeah. My wife is a warrior. She's she'll still do stuff. Yeah. I get the man.
I can't stay still.
Yeah. And then I got the man flu on a Mother's Day. How awful is that? And then she was like, this is bad. I don't want to do anything either. So I'm like, thank goodness. Nice. I got kind of bailed out by the sickness.
Wow.
She was down with the sickness.
Ooh, oh, wait.
Have you heard that? The
one guy.
No. What is it? The Spice Girls mash up with that one.
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have.
Tell me what you want, what you really want.
Yeah,
And it's over the guitar part.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does that. And I love it every time. If I scroll through a reel that has that, I stop automatically and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me redeem myself real quick. You got to do like okay. Here we go. Ooh, okay.
That was good. That was
good.
Like
that was better. Yeah.
I didn't think your first one was that bad.
Okay, good. Because I felt like it was like the guy on that one.
I feel like you still nailed
on that
it.
one video where he's like, ooh, Anyway, I'm not a huge
listeners. I'm still gonna. No, I never was. But
yeah. But I can respect them. I can respect them.
I don't know if I can. I don't know.
You don't what?
What?
You don't.
I don't know. I don't know if I can respect them.
Oh, really?
What is that Korn song where he does a weird thing at the beginning?
Freak on a Leash.
How's that go? There's a Korn one too. Like I just didn't.
It's not in the beginning. It's towards the end. Like it's like
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
it's like scat. I don't get that. It's like hard rock scat.
Yeah, I don't get it. And I kind of felt like this, like Disturbed's first song comes out, and that's like the big thing is he does some weird sound. I just didn't get it. Not me.
You ever see? We might have talked about this, and I'm pretty sure we have. But you ever seen the one with Jet Li?
No.
Great.
I think you've brought it up before, though.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's great.
Speaking of great movies, I've never watched The Godfather. I'm going to watch that this weekend.
This weekend, okay. Be prepared. It's a long one.
I know. That's why the thing is. I planned my time.
I think I saw it in high school. And it was like that respect but don't enjoy. Like I was like, I get why people love this. I respect the movie itself, but I didn't like love it.
Okay.
But it's got what's the guy's name? Marlon Brando.
Like, Marlon Brando. Yeah.
He like touches his face. He's like, you never give me the decency or something like that. I don't even know. But yeah. Tell me how it goes.
I will. How have you been, Cole? Been a while.
My tongue is tingly. You know why?
What's your?
Because I just had some Melinda's ghost pepper hot sauce.
Ooh, and what do you think?
It was great. I'm sad I drank or not drank. I didn't chug it. I'm sad I took some on food, or what do you even say? Like I put some on my food before the podcast because my tongue was burning for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be rough drinking whiskey with this.
So that's the thing.
I recovered.
Good. Isn't it a great balance of flavor and heat?
I'm with you. It's more heat than I thought it was, to be honest. And it's not a bad thing. But the way you hyped it up, I think it is a really good balance, to be honest. And here's the thing. Ghost peppers have a really good flavor. From my experience making hot sauce, it's just you have to tame it in a really good way. But like the flavor of the actual pepper is better than most, in my opinion. The heat is crazy sometimes if you don't tame it down.
Do you like truffles?
Not really.
Like truffle flavor? Okay. No. I'm not a huge truffle fan, but she also makes one like a black truffle hot sauce. And that is delicious on Asian food. And I like that one. But it's not, that one's really not spicy. But
I got you.
It's tasty.
I've never sent you my hot sauce. Mine is super tame compared to Melinda's in the heat department.
Okay.
But it's got a little kick. And
but it's made with love, and
it's made with love.
And I know Melinda loves me. I know she loves me, but not like you do. So it'll taste that much better.
And then otherwise in life, I'm excited for this weekend. Actually, first let me say it feels like it's been a long time since we recorded. I mean, it feels like it's been.
I feel like I barely know you.
I know. So it's good to be back, listeners. It's good to be back, Robby.
Yeah.
This weekend, my good friend from college, him and his wife and 2 kids are coming in from Raleigh. It's like a 2.5 hour drive or so. So they're coming on up. Looking forward to chilling with them. We're just gonna, mostly do kids stuff, like just talking and watching the kids all day.
How old are their kids?
He's got like an 8-year-old.
Okay.
And then he's got like a 2-year-old, I want to say. And,
that Beck will like love it.
Yeah.
It's like a good age of respect.
Yeah. And it's funny, I've known him since college, but I've known his wife since high school, actually.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be cool seeing them, and big fans of them. And yeah, I've been looking for that for a while.
Have you suggested to him that maybe instead of going up to see you guys, he goes to Cancun?
No, I try to avoid that because it breaks my heart when they
I was
do
just saying,
that.
Sorry.
All the cool people do that. Just leave the uncool people behind in Virginia.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Oh, what are you entry buzz? Are you entry buzzing? Because I've
I'm
laid
not.
out an entry buzz, but I haven't been sipping.
What are you sipping on?
Just Bland's. I just had a little sample bottle full of Bland's, and yeah.
There you go. Yeah, no, I don't want to put too much alcohol on my immune system right now because I'm at that point where I value, where it's like when you get sick and you're like, I do anything to feel better. Yeah, I'm on the tail end of that, so I'm like, I'm gonna kill my immune system as little.
But what if, Robbie? What if you were wrong, and what if alcohol were good for you? Yeah. Oh, it's just a cleanse, man. It's basically like rubbing alcohol internally. It's basically, why don't you, pull a president and inject it into your veins,
There you go.
Yeah. So
just I'll butt chug it and funnel it at the same time and get myself good from both ends.
Yeah, it's a alcohol enema. It'll clean you out. So I guess I don't know. How are we doing? We're doing okay.
Yeah, we're a little short, but
yeah, but that's okay. We're not going to force anything.
I mean, I could go into detail about how many times I blew my nose this week because that's about the funnest thing I've done.
Did you have one of those like counter things where you're like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I keep all sorts of stats on my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I did use a lot. Oh, go ahead.
I knew a guy who like carried one of those around. I'm like, why are you carrying that? I never asked him, but he like when I saw him multiple times, he was like, clicking.
He's keeping.
And you like, it's like you wonder, like, what are you counting?
So then you got to start doing things like, is it every time I touch my nose?
Yeah.
Like trying to
start checking out my my like batter signals.
No, I have
pull the ear, go across the brim.
I have a couple of those in my classroom, and like every once in a while, like when kids get a little like unruly, like you gotta kind of focus these kids, and like, but there's a lot of energy. I'll go, hey, all right, I'll reset them. Like, who can click the most in 1 minute? And they're just
nice,
like going at it like nuts. That's one of my favorites. Or like, how many times who can jump the most in 1 minute? And I'll like click them like crazy as they're jumping.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever play video games?
Never. All the time.
Yeah, you do. Do you still play video games?
Yeah, we play almost every night with Papa G and Merkle Pen and my wife.
Do you remember the old days, like N64 days, where it's like you're playing like Mario Party or something like that, and you have to like tap it really quick, and some people would like
do the slide,
like rub across it. Yeah, yeah.
I always would go 2 hands on my thigh.
And then dang, and then you'd play some video games.
Oh jeez.
And with that, why don't we go for a walk?
That's a good point to go. I'm ready for a walk.
Yeah, it's a good day. It actually was supposed to rain today, but I don't think it did, which means after this, I'm probably gonna have to mow the lawn.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm bummed about.
You don't like mowing the lawn?
It's a big lawn.
Yeah,
but yours is smaller than ours for sure.
See, our first house we were on 1/3 of an acre with just a 1,500 square foot house. So it was like huge yard. Took a decent.
Was this the house I knew?
Mm-hmm. Because it was on that corner lot. Yeah. Was it 1/3? A quarter of an acre. Quarter of an acre.
I feel like we're like
which is big for a neighborhood.
Totally.
Are you kind of at the point where it's like you might want to get a riding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like a few grand.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know.
But anyway, I'm gonna have to go for a walk. But when we come back, we'll talk about the history of Rittenhouse, but more so the history of Heaven Hill Distillery, which we haven't touched in a very long time. And so we'll be back. We'll talk about that, and then we'll drink. So here we go to break. All right, we're back.
We are.
And we're talking about Rittenhouse Rye, but specifically, we're going to be talking a little bit about Heaven Hill Distillery, which makes Rittenhouse Rye. But before we get to that, I had some notes. Just wanted to give a shout out to all the people that reached out to us over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Great conversations. Great just talking. Appreciate all you guys. So keep it up. And if you haven't, if you're one of those people that's on Instagram and you follow us and you haven't hit us up saying, you know what, I appreciate you guys.
No, or I depreciate you guys.
Yeah, or I depreciate you guys.
Now's the perfect time to send Cole a Christmas gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit us up.
Yeah, exactly. Hit us up. You know us, YouTube. Just comment or
I feel like
send us a message.
That's
what people do on YouTube, right? They can send a message, right? Right. Anyway, we are drinking Rittenhouse Rye, and this is our first Rittenhouse Rye branded whiskey on the podcast, but it's pretty much the only Rittenhouse branded product out there. And some of you are like, hey, Cole, what about Rittenhouse Very Rare that had bottlings like a 21-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 25-year-old rye? Well, those are super rare, person. And I'm not going to pretend that they're so rare that they're not worth mentioning. So I decided to talk about Heaven Hill Distillery. We've talked about aspects of Heaven Hill Distillery over the past year or so, but I wanted to actually just talk about the basic history of it. And it's been a long time. I don't know when the last time, if we ever did a real strong background of Heaven Hill Distillery. So one thing is to note is that according to Heaven Hill's website, they are the single most productive bourbon distilling operation and second largest inventory of aging whiskey in the world.
So first most productive.
Yeah. No, here's the exact phrasing. Single most productive bourbon distilling operation and second largest inventory of aging whiskey in the world. Now, here's my question. What does it actually mean to be the single most productive bourbon distilling operation? There's a lot of clarifying words in there, like single productive distilling operation. Why don't they just say we're the most producing distillery or something? It's very interesting. And I think if they were the highest producing distillery of bourbon, I feel like they would have worded it differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say.
Outside of Tri-Cities is Badger Mountain, the world's tallest treeless mountain.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you get those qualifiers will get you.
Yeah, they'll draw you in, and then you're going to have to pay their price. So anyway, that's all I'm wondering. Could you call yourself the highest producing bourbon distillery in the world? Maybe not. But where did I leave off? But I don't like when distilleries put out weirdly worded claims like that. But anyway, one thing I can say is that Heaven Hill is a family-owned distillery started by brothers Mose, George, Gary, David, and Ed Shapira right after Prohibition ended. And they originally worked in department stores. And they were approached by investors that asked them if they would co-invest in a distillery. And they were asked for only about $17,500, which would be matched by the investors to be $35,000 to start up a bourbon producing machine. And that's the equivalent today of about $350,000, which, if you really think about it, isn't a lot compared to what they're doing today with distilleries. So that's the cost of a house. And they started a distillery with the cost of a house that got as big as it is today. And the distillery was started in Bardstown, Kentucky. They bought the land off of a man named William Heaven Hill. And it was Heaven Hill with one word, not split up, like Heaven Hill Distillery. And they originally named the distillery the Heaven Hill Springs Distillery. And originally 2 beams. We talked about how the beams really took over the bourbon world from a long time ago, from the 1700s, basically. But anyway, 2 beams were running the distillery on the distillation side. There was Joe and Harry Beam were making the juice until Earl Beam became master distiller in 1946. And he was master distiller until 1975 when he handed things off to his son, Parker Beam. Now, Parker Beam really kicked off several new brands, such as Elijah Craig, Evan Williams, and Henry McKenna, ones we've all done. Mm-hmm. And in 1996, there was actually an enormous distillery fire that almost put Heaven Hill under. When this happened, after it happened, they actually reached out to some other distilleries in Kentucky who were actually happy to help out in different ways in restoring Heaven Hill's business, basically. And I thought that was pretty cool. In the end, they lost 92,000 barrels to this fire. And they think it was, I believe it was due to a lightning strike, they say. Most companies wouldn't recover from that kind of loss, but they did. Only 3 years later, they were presented with the opportunity to buy the Bernheim distillery in Louisville, which they now own. And when they did, Parker Beam, who was the master distiller at that time still, made sure that everything was up to Heaven Hill's standards, like removing a lot of stainless steel in the process of making the whiskey. He replaced a lot of that with copper, because copper, he says, would bring out, or would affect the flavor less. So that was one of the things they did. Anyway, they've been doing very well since, and they've been doing well since they started. But these days they're producing over 400,000 barrels a year. And I thought that was pretty cool. So that's the story, a little bit of a condensed, concise, brief story of Heaven Hill Distillery. Now we're going to talk about Rittenhouse Rye, which they make, and they made for a little bit now. Bottled in bond, Rittenhouse is. And so it is 100 proof, and it is around the minimum age for bonded whiskey. So it's around 4 years old. 4 years is the minimum for bottled and bond whiskey. It is low rye recipe, which is 51% rye, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley. Very low rye, but it is still a rye because you need to be a minimum of 51%, and they matched that. And total wine price, I got this personally for about $21. And
yeah, mine was 27.
Whoa.
I was surprised. I thought it was cheaper than that.
I haven't opened the seal yet.
I cut mine earlier.
Ooh, did you drink it yet?
Nope.
You ready for a double cork unscrew? Put it back on. Mine gets the crack of the unscrew. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. And as you could tell, there is no actual cork. There is a screw top on this one, which isn't a bad thing. Some great whiskeys have screw tops, such as Yamazaki 18.
Now, did you know that this is quite the John?
I am very aware this is quite the John.
It's a Philadelphia-styled rye.
I saw that.
Named after Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia. I did my research, Cole.
Yeah, you read the bottle.
I read the bottle.
I forgot that it was named after Rittenhouse Square. I've been there.
Have you?
Many a time.
What'd you do there?
I ate dinner with my sister and my wife once.
What'd you have for dinner?
I forget. It was like semi-fancy. It's a nice square.
If you were Amara, you'd know. Amara will be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, we went to dinner at that one. Oh, okay, yeah. I ordered this and that, and you had this and that. Like, she remembers.
Nice. Crazy. That's a good thing to remember, what you ate.
It is kind of fun because like, I wasn't coughing. I was just singing. All right, nose-wise.
You're allowed to
Appley.
Cough. Yeah, I'm with you.
Appley, slight spice.
It's not. They assume that Sazerac rye is about 51% or 51% rye. It's not as fruity as Saz to me on the nose, but it's still very fruity. I'm getting a little bit of baking spices as well. Nothing like cinnamon.
No.
But it's got a little spice to it for sure.
A little rice spice. I don't know. First off, I'm going to go for another one in a second, but I just get a lot of bitterness right off the bat.
This is very spicy.
Yeah. And then
the first note I get is grass.
Oh, it's an omen. Mm-hmm. You hate cutting grass.
So that's why I'm sipping this.
Yeah.
It's getting me ready. You know what would help lawn mowing? if I could like actually one hand a glass and put my other hand on the mower, but it's a full push mower.
Oh boy, yeah, you're getting a workout then.
I thought we bought one that had a that was like a
self-propelled
one, but apparently not. It's like not doing its own thing. And I have like some weird hills and stuff. It's annoying.
Yeah. So if you go back to buy another one and you don't get a riding, I love my Husqvarna. It's an all-wheel drive.
Nice.
Self-propelled, which is nice because I'll go mow some lawns like in the foothills and stuff like that. People got hilly yards. And then it's got all-wheel drive.
Are you getting grass? Because I'm getting a lot of grass.
It is a little grassy. I think that might be kind of like that earthy bitterness that I'm getting. Like it's not super sweet.
It's kind of the weird thing is it doesn't taste 100 proof. It tastes 80 proof. Kind of seems watered down on top of it.
I haven't had anything to drink since. I thought we were going to record on Thursday for a second, so I did have a drink. So last Thursday was the last time I had a drink. So I haven't had much to drink at all. So I don't know. I'm just out of whack here, but
grassy, earthy. It's got some flavor, but the heat isn't like backing it up, which isn't necessary. I don't need that to happen to enjoy it.
I get a bitterness.
It's weird. It's got like weird flavors, but at the same time, it feels watered down. It's interesting.
It is definitely earthy. I can see the grass for sure. Like not even like a fresh cut grass. It's kind of like a mulchy, maybe sat in the bag for a couple of days before you dump it. Kind of a grassiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. I'll be honest.
I haven't sipped this neat. I don't even remember the last time I ever had Rittenhouse Rye. So I was kind of expecting this to be just a very trusty go-to for the price. Very good mixer. So far, I'm not unimpressed with it, but I probably won't keep one of these on my shelf is what I will say about this so far. But we'll see what the water pour does.
Yeah, I dropped mine already. Kind of killed the little bit of sweetness that was there, that little fruity sweetness that it had. It's kind of gone now.
This is so grassy.
Yeah. No, so it's funny because I remember the only time I really remember knowing I was drinking this is I think Manhattans are made with rye, right?
Yeah, typically.
So I went to the press and pony. He's like, "Can I get a Manhattan?" And I just it was like when I was first getting into whiskey, and I was like, "Oh, and what's your house pour for that?" And he goes, "Rittenhouse." And I go, "Oh." I didn't know much about it, but I was like, I don't think I like that. I was like, "Oh, you got anything?" And he's like, "Oh, you don't like Rittenhouse?" And I was like, felt called out, like I had to commit to what I'd said. And I was like, "Oh no, that stuff's horrible." And you know what? I might have been right. There you go.
You might have known what you were talking about. I have to distance myself from the distillery, and because I do respect Heaven Hill. But if this were made by like someone else, it would be okay to me at best. Like I can't say I would love this. Even if it were made by someone like Buffalo Trace or something, like it's still okay.
I like it. Excuse me. I like it better than with the water than I did neat for sure. I don't get the bitterness that I got right off the bat up front.
Ooh, I'm getting the back end,
but the back end. It wasn't up for me. It wasn't up front. The back end, though, just that weird earthiness is really prominent on the back end.
I hate this.
Yeah,
with water, like the whole time. It's just my mouth is coated with an earthy, dry, bitter flavor.
Now, I will
Which
say,
is interesting because this is kind of a go-to standard for mixing.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just you add something with some sugar in it and get it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, maybe that helps it out a ton and it kind of brings out the best foods and bring out the best. And like, there's times where my eyes go. There's times where earthiness is not like one of my favorite notes for sure. But there are definitely some whiskeys that can have an earthiness to it that I kind of enjoy it. Like I don't think I want it as the prominent note.
For sure.
I don't know.
Like one of the earthiest whiskeys I've ever had is William LaRue Weller. Some years of William LaRue Weller, and but it's still good. I'm not always the biggest fan of Willie LaRue because of that, but it's still a good whiskey. It's good enough. This is grassy,
good
earthy.
That for you, it's
especially
good
enough.
Ice,
or I don't know what it's
for me. It's good enough.
What's this?
Good enough for you, me. Yeah. Old Cyndi Lauper, bro, from the Goonies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was about to guess the Pixies.
Well,
you had kind of a Black Francis kind of thing. It did.
Well,
down.
I think that's kind of where my voice was taking it.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. I don't know. That might be, if I can remember to post it. I'm gonna make a note here in a second. That'd be a good question. What whiskey do you enjoy that like earthy note is prominent? Yeah. And if I don't post it, send it to us. What like maybe if you really enjoy earthy notes, let us know.
Whiskey. What whiskey would you choose?
We could.
Well, think about it.
You have a burning question you want answered, Cole.
I want it answered, so we'll do that this week. So, how do you like it with the ice? Have you? I mean, it's your first sip.
Ugh. Went down the wrong pipe first.
Better than water for me.
No, it's
might be the best pour actually for me.
I liked water. Well, hold on. Now the back end does get a little okay. I got the bitterness up front again. Maybe I didn't have enough ice. I'm gonna put a little more ice in here. There's a little.
I don't like the finish though.
Oh, the longer it sits,
I will give this bottle away.
The longer
I don't even think it's worthy of cocktails.
Yeah,
but maybe if you add sugar,
add some sugar.
But a Manhattan doesn't have sugar.
It's got
vermouth, yeah, and bitters. And maybe an orange peel or a lemon peel if you're crazy.
Yeah. Or a maraschino cherry. Yeah.
Maraschino. Yeah. So I think I'm formulating my rating.
Okay. That time I didn't get the bitterness up. I don't know what's going on with my palate here. There's the bitterness there. Give it a second. It might get good again.
It just seems so watered down, which it's like not. It's 100 proof.
On the back end, I get like a nuttiness, and it's almost like a Brazil nut, where like Brazil nuts are kind of bitter, Kind of get like a Brazil nut.
I'm going back to the Blantons.
Yeah, I'm gonna pour a little bit of my limonada in here too. Maybe that'll help it. We'll see.
Your Illuminati?
Oh, limonada. Lemonade. No.
What's that?
Oh, it's just like one of those energy drinks that's lemonade.
Ooh. Energy drinks?
I
love energy drinks. Minus the energy. What if I was like, because most of our listeners know that I'm anti-caffeine these days, at least for me. You can drink whatever we want. But what if I was like
Cole goes to the coffee shop, it's just like boom, bam, boom, hitting coffees out of people's hands.
Yeah, flipping tables and tearing coffee out of people's hands. What if I like relapsed? It was like I was addicted or something. I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to caffeine. No, that'd be funny. I would hope someone would hold me back because I don't do well with caffeine.
I'm surprised you didn't start. If you were going to relapse, I would have for sure thought it was going to be when Beck was born.
Nah,
I am impressed. Baby. You made it through early infancy.
That's right. I guess you told me you just wait until you have a baby.
I thought for sure you would, but
you were begging me to relapse.
I was. Come on, man. Come on, let's go get some coffee, man.
Y'all gotta be that caffeine. What's your rating on this? I think I've formulated mine.
I think I'm gonna go 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not entirely awful. There's nothing really great about it. There's nothing good about it. Like,
yeah.
Other than it could get you drunk if you wanted to get drunk. That's about where it's at, I think. So I'm gonna go 4.5.
I tried to keep an open mind on this one. I actually was expecting this to be a very good, reasonably priced pour, but I was not very impressed. and I will probably give this bottle to a friend because it doesn't belong on my shelf. I'm gonna give it sub 6. I was thinking 6, but I was like, you know what? I don't think it even earned a 6, but I'm gonna go just below at a 5.9. Not loving it, especially with the water. Really, like the neat pour was the best, but it was very earthy and in a way weird flavors, but in a way very light. I don't even think it'd be great in cocktails. Maybe I'll have to just try it in a cocktail and be like, is it worth it?
I'm going to save this bottle because I have a couple friends that really like my whiskey sours. So I'm going to just save for the whiskey sours.
This could rock a whiskey sour. There's enough sugar and enough distracting flavors to make it work. So maybe I'll just make it my standard. No, I have enough bottles of Buffalo Trace to make that.
Like, honestly, even for that, like, honestly, and I've said it before, like, I like a $20 bottle of Two Gingers Irish whiskey because it just cuts it. You don't really need anything that fancy.
You got to go with bourbon.
See, I think the bourbon's almost too sweet though.
No, it's perfect. Like Buffalo Trace. Come on.
I mean, you can. I just it's already so sweet.
Yeah.
You're literally like adding, gosh, probably like, I don't know what to say. You're adding a lot of sugar when you make that drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your sour ratio.
Yeah.
Half of it is sugar.
What's your recipe for a whiskey sour?
So it's a 2-to-1 ratio of liquor to simple syrup.
Okay.
And so typically I'll do about 3 ounces and then 1.5 ounces. And then I'll do at least half of a lemon.
Oh, wow. So you kind of just gauge it based on the lemon.
Let's do 1 lemon. And that way you kind of, it makes things, the way they is. It could vary a little bit. But then you do the dry shake with the egg white first.
Totally.
Then you add those ingredients in. Ice shake, pour it. And then I'll do a little maraschino cherry
always good
in it. Yeah. And then the Luxardo, I'll take a fork and I'll scoop out some of the Luxardo syrup and drizzle it around the top.
Yeah. Here's mine. Mine's a little different than yours.
Okay.
And I have a very measured form. So yeah, I will dry shake the egg yolk, and I'm not afraid to put a whole egg yolk in there.
Yep. Egg yolk per drink.
White.
Yeah, white. Right. 1 egg white per drink is what you got to do.
And then I will dry shake that, and then I'll add 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of lemon juice, and then 3/4 ounce of 2-to-1 simple syrup, 2-to-1 sugar to water. And then I'll try to add a maraschino, and then I'll shake really hard with ice, and then strain out into the those glasses that I got you. That's my favorite glass for a whiskey sour, is the ones, the small ones that I got you.
I know, those are great.
Yeah. So,
just lemon wise, a little different. Oh, sometimes I also like to add a little bit of the Peel's oil, a little lemon oil, a little zest, not zest, a little oil across the top. Yeah.
Wait a second. So you're not drinking alcohol, but you're drinking energy drinks?
I need caffeine, Cole.
But it's sugar and caffeine, and that's it.
I do like the diet one, man.
Oh,
totally. Not like sugar.
You ever have Bang energy?
I think I had one once, and it was growth.
Oh, really? I love Bang, and plus they offer some caffeine-free varieties, so I get behind that. Ugh. I love their Sour Heads flavor.
Interesting. I would try that.
Or their cotton candy flavor.
Cotton candy. They have like a gummy bear one too, don't they?
They have a few different crazy. I haven't heard of gummy bear. There's like unicorn something or something like that, but they don't offer that in caffeine free.
Gotcha.
But let's move it on to our next segment.
Let's do that. Yeah, why not?
A segment we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. It's time for Whiskey World News, part of the show where we read an article and we talk about it. We didn't write it. Just going to talk about it. And this one comes from Inside Hook and is written by Kirk Miller. It's titled Private Barrel Picks Make Your Favorite Whiskey More Interesting.
That's for sure.
Several distilleries today offer a private barrel program where consumers, bars, liquor stores, and whiskey societies can select their own casks and receive personalized bottles. And other perks. It's an increasingly common part of the whiskey economy. Starting May 13th, Whiskey Auctioneer will be debuting its third major sale of American whiskey, this time highlighting these private barrel stocks. But the concept of barrel picks has changed somewhat over the decades, and the bottles in the spotlight here point to a time when a private barrel selection was far less common, but conversely, much more freewheeling and interesting. The growth in barrel picking is exceptional, and interest in private picks is at an all-time high, as Fred Minnick, a whiskey historian, notes on the Auctioneer's website. As we begin to see distillers limiting their private barrel programs, rare picks like these will be in demand. They represent a time when people had free reign in a warehouse to select their ultimate flavor profiles. These bottles are capsules in time, reflecting a bygone era, and this is one of the opportunities to get some of these extraordinary rare gems. And it just kind of goes into talking about some of the picks they have at this certain auction. But I'll go and stop there. But anyway, cool. I thought that was an interesting title.
Yeah. We haven't really talked too much about barrel picks.
No, we haven't. We have not.
For those out there who don't know what barrel picks are, it's basically distilleries will offer things like, for example, Eagle Rare or Buffalo Trace or Elijah Craig, or what else could do? Like even smaller distillers will do barrel picks. And even Blanton's does it. Stag just recently started doing it. So these are so typically in something like, let me give an example of Elijah Craig. Is that Elijah Craig is typically considered a small batch product, but who knows what that means? But what you can do is you could say, hey, Heaven Hill, send me like 10 samples of different barrels of your Elijah Craig product, because they are different and they're always going to be different. And one barrel is always going to be different from the next barrel. It's like snowflakes. They're always going to be different. And sometimes they'll be similar, but they'll never be exactly the same. And so when they batch them, typically in a small batch or potentially a large batch product, but they're not going to call it a large batch product, it'll be more consistent to the last batch. Now, when you do a single barrel pick, you get to try different, like the liquor store or the, like you said, the bourbon club or like whatever, like societies and stuff. Like they will pick out of like a range of the Elijah Craig product in this case, and they'll say, we liked this barrel the best. It tasted to our liking, and now we're going to sell that whole barrel in terms of bottles made up of that barrel. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm a huge fan. My dream in life years ago was to be a part of a barrel pick tasting, which I actually got to do a few years ago, which is awesome. And yeah, it's just it's a way to select out of a range of what you want. I just think if I see barrel picks of things I love, for example, Four Roses barrel strength single barrel, I pretty much can never say no to that, because they're always going to be different, because one, they're different recipes, different yeast strains and all that. But then two, they're always like good, and some are better than others. So I usually will pick up nice barrel picks, especially if they're not 1792. And I just don't like 1792 like that much. But maybe I do. Maybe I need to give them another chance. But that's what I think. I think barrel picks are cool, and I think they are special, and I think they're unique, and I think that's worth celebrating.
I don't see we don't. I mean, we'll get state, because we're state run. We'll get like Idaho's Maker's Marks, things like that, which don't necessarily excite me.
No,
but when
I
am out of town, like if I see a barrel pick, I'm like, oh, cool, I'll grab that, because you know what, I'm not going to be able to get that exact product in Idaho for sure. Also, it reminded me of two jokes of
bring it on.
The same joke, different variation. You can pick your friends. You can pick your nose, but
you can't pick your friend's nose.
Now, if you were to say that, I would say, no, Cole, you can pick your friends.
Barrels.
You can pick your nose, but you can't eat your friends.
Wow.
So if someone knows that joke, that's where you go to next.
I like that. I'm gonna run with that. That's like saying, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a night. If you teach a man a fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. Or if you give a man a fire, he'll be warm for a night. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Have you heard that one?
No, I think I have.
It's so good.
Like that. It reminds me. No, you just that should have been the show.
Bring it on.
But there's the joke of why aren't koalas considered bears? And they're like the reason because they're not because they're marsupials.
Because they scream when they're on fire.
Because if someone says because they're marsupials, you can still say the punchline, which is because they don't have the qualifications.
That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, yours is better.
No, yeah. But I like the setting fire to a koala. It's like when when Australia was on fire. And,
oh gosh!
No, I'm kidding. I'm not a supporter of setting koalas on fire. I'm just joking. Just joking. Don't cancel us. All right. What do you say we move on to our next segment of the show we like to call Whiskey? What whiskey? Nope. We're gonna restart that up. A segment we like to call What Whiskey Would You Choose?
All right. Oh, geez. That means Cole. Talk about the color of the whiskey. I totally forgot. I'm out of rhythm here.
This Blanton's is a pale copper.
It reminds me of a terracotta.
I still have the barrel bottle on my desk, so maybe I'll sip some of that or the seagrass.
Who was sending? Who do we got the regular seagrass come from?
That's gonna be a Brian Rapp joint in the future.
Yes, and so
I actually saw some at the liquor store for $80, and I was like, "Do I buy it?" And we'll see after Brian's episode or Brian's.
Yeah. So I'm excited because I'm ready to I'm gonna sample them next to each other and kind of compare and contrast.
Nice.
Anyway, last week we talked about what non-Kentucky affiliated rye whiskey is your favorite. I went with Crater Lake Reserve Rye, and Cole went with Lot 40 Second Edition. Right, it was second. Yep. And Cole
first or second?
It was supposed to be first. I put second.
It was definitely not third. I'll tell you that.
Not third. And Cole won 75 to 25%.
Nice.
No surprise there. And as far as write-ins go, Whiskey Wine Cigars went with Limo Rye DG. Have you heard of that?
Love it. You know that? Whiskey Wine Cigars, hit us up anytime.
Okay. And then Bro Taskin also said Lot 40 for sure.
Our Canadian turtle friend.
Their standard is great.
He said what?
He just said Lot 40 for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. Mm-hmm.
Which even their standard was great.
Yeah.
Matt Town Marketing Bin Clubs, Alberta Premium Cask Strength.
Yeah, baby. Another good friend, Canadian rye.
Dramhound went with High West Double Rye Picks for their crazy finishing barrels. And he said Woodinville Cask Strength for straight rye. And I have not had any of their cask, but I do like their rye.
Yeah, Woodinville's got it going on.
Joel M09, Belgrove Peated Rye. Hopefully we get to taste it one day. It's bottled and ready to send. Can't wait.
Dude, I would go to Tasmania first. And
you know what? You're not allowed in Tasmania anymore after your little koala joke there, buddy.
I know. Well, Tasmania doesn't have koalas. They have quokkas. Look them up. They're cute.
Quokkas?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ritz? Saltines?
Yeah, like townhouse quokkas.
And I got to look it up. Our good friend John Hughes in the Embellish Pod said Jack Daniels and Whiskey Pig are great ryes, but for me, it's Sagamore is doing the most.
Nice. I haven't had Sagamore, which is from Baltimore.
Hey, get your gun.
Pretty darn
That's all I know about Baltimore's got a high crime rate.
Yep.
Miles Ferguson, Alberta Premium Rye, close second, and very different Copper Fox Rye.
Which, happy birthday, Miles Ferguson, recently. And I got him that for his birthday.
Nice.
Sounds
good. All right, Cole. So this week, Cole has, I question Cole. I don't know if this is going to be a great whiskey.
I think it's going to be great.
It very well could be because it is a two-parter. It's interesting. But Cole, but Cole's like, we're going to do it because this is what I got to know.
Yeah.
Cole, what's this week's What Whiskey Would You Choose?
All right, here goes. So I have many types of glasses. I have Waterford glasses. I have Glencairns. I have stemless Glencairns. I have stemless Glencairns with the chill filtered logo on it. What up? I have really fancy extra bulbous glass holes. I have a Corn Bleu Glencairn. Stuff like that. I have fancy glasses, but my favorite fancy glass is my Waterford double old-fashioned glass. or potentially the glass hole, large bulbous glass hole snifter. But depending on the day, something is fancier than others. I want to hear, first of all, what's your fanciest glass that you like to pour into? But second of all, what do you love pouring into your fanciest glass? So, Robby, what is your fanciest glass, and what do you love pouring into that fancy glass?
All right. So I will say my fanciest glass is my Corn Bleu.
Corn Bleu.
My Corn Bleu.
Mark Corn Bleu. Check him out. He's from Nebraska.
Blah, blah, blah.
From Lincoln, Nebraska.
And I love it. And I think it's one of my favorites because John Hughes gifted it to us. It's hand blown, and it is really pretty. That being said, if I was to take a picture of me, like to hang above the mantle wearing like a velvet sports jacket with like a puffy little whatever I don't live in that world, so I don't know what
pirate shirt underneath.
Yeah, well, no, like the scarf that kind of comes out over top, and like my penny loafers on or something like that. I will probably be drinking from my Waterford rocks glasses that she got me, and
the only glass that you pulled out of the container, or out of the box.
Yeah, I gotta find. I'm sure that box is like somewhere here in the office. Like I don't know where the other three are, funny. But this one, because I'm like I don't want. Like if I take this one out and it breaks, and I got 3 more that I can go to when I can find them. I wonder if my chill filtered stemless is in that box.
Oh,
I might have done that. I don't know.
Yeah, they might all be
anyway.
Together.
So that's the glass I'm drinking out of, and the fanciest whiskey I have right now is that Elijah Craig 18. So that's kind of what I'd be throwing in there. Yeah,
I like that.
What about you, man?
So definitely, as I mentioned, probably my what do you call it? My Waterford double old fashioned glass, which I don't have with me right now. But I'm trying to think, like, what would I put in that is like something I'm like very proud of. Maybe something cast strength. Yeah, I'm gonna go. This might take the cake, but I'm gonna go George T. Stagg 2019 in my Waterford double old fashioned glass.
Okay, this is gonna be kind of a tricky one to post.
Yeah, but I want to hear what people like. If you can. Honestly, if you can send us pictures in this, what whiskey would you choose this week?
That would
be grateful. I want to see what you're drinking from. And I want to see whiskey in it. Now I'm saying John Hughes.
Oh, John Hughes is always up to the task.
Yeah, he's always. And Bryce. I mean, everyone. All of our great listeners.
I got to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Bryce is I think full-time daddying right now and not as
he's
active.
Busy, man.
And I 100% get that.
Son, right? He's got a son.
I think so. He's a son.
I know he already had a son, but I know he recently.
Pretty sure the second one was a son.
Okay.
He recently had a child.
A child. You ever seen that old Vine that's like, this is probably terrible, but they're like, they like point to a sign and it says like, child rapist or something. This is a terrible joke now that I think about it. But they're like, what's worse than a rapist? And someone's like, a child, as they like pull up the child. I don't know. It's so bad.
I know what you're saying.
And it's not funny.
It was very poorly said.
It's very poorly presented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. I think our listeners might hang in there a little longer and hope that I can redeem myself.
All right. Well, I don't know if you're going to redeem yourself this episode. So
no,
listeners,
it'll take
you might need to listen to the next
4 episodes. Yeah.
Next 4 episodes.
Be hooked.
He'll totally redeem himself.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are you drinking next week, man?
So we're between two peaty Scotches, 2 peaty whiskeys from around the world. We're going to go between Ambrut Fusion, which was a Ben Klepsig joint. And then we're going to go between Compass Box, the Peat Monster, which was a Chanciaro joint, I believe.
Where's Compass Box from?
Compass Box is kind of I believe they're an independent bottler out in Scotland. So they're a Scotch.
Okay.
But
India
they are both
versus
peaty
Scotland.
And crazy. And keep an eye out for Tuesday-ish when we post what we should drink next week. And you can vote. So hop on Instagram and find out.
Yeah, man, I'm interested in both. Like I really was leaning toward the Ambrut Fusion because I really do want to try that.
But
then when you say Peat Monster,
oh
man,
it'll change you.
That's got me hooked.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's got you hooked, Robby.
Cole, it certainly does. And you know what, Cole? I hope you didn't catch my cold.
I hope that you get better, Chelsea gets better, and Amara doesn't get worse.
And Cole, I hope that mowing your lawn is a delight. But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of spirits lifted you. Yeah. I always would go 2 hands on my thigh.
And then dang. And then you'd play some video games.
Oh, geez.